everyone, welcome back to another deep dive with me.
And me.
And today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting that happened in the world of wrestling involving Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a fascinating one for sure.
Yeah, I think so too, because, we're all familiar with Hulk Hogan, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Hulkamania, Running Wild, Brother, all that.
Yeah, household name.
But this time things went a little bit differently than you might expect at a WWE event in Englewood, California.
Yeah, this is not the typical hero's welcome that we're used to seeing for the Hulkster.
No, not at all. So the basic setup is that you've got this WWE Raw event happening in Englewood, and out comes Hulk Hogan, right? Big entrance.
Yeah, you'd expect the crowd to go wild.
Exactly right. You'd expect the place to erupt.
Yeah.
And instead, he gets met with a wave of boos.
Oh,
Like
wow.
a chorus of boos that basically forces him to retreat.
You don't see that every day.
No, you don't see that every day. Especially not for someone like Hulk Hogan. And of course, the internet went absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Memes, commentary, all sorts of stuff, trying to figure out, like,
I bet.
what happened? Like, why did this happen?
It's a great question because on the surface, it might seem like, okay, maybe some people just don't like Hulk Hogan, but when you've got that level of, negative reaction, it makes you wonder what's really going on.
Right. Is there something deeper here?
Exactly. And I think to understand that, we need to kind of rewind a bit
Okay.
and look at Hulk Hogan's journey.
All right, so let's rewind back in time a little bit before we get to this Englewood incident.
Yep.
We got to talk about Hulk Hogan's career,
Of course.
but also how he's become maybe a little more divisive of a public figure over time.
Yeah. I mean, beyond just the wrestling persona.
Right, exactly. And a big part of that seems to be his political views, specifically his support for Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's been pretty outspoken about that.
He has, and he's not just posting about it on social media. He's been seen at rallies, campaign events, even had a speaking slot.
A primetime speaking slot.
Yeah, at the 2020 Republican National Convention.
Big stage.
Huge stage.
Yeah, that wasn't just like a quick wave and hello.
No,
he was really a featured speaker there.
He was a part of it, and I remember that speech.
Yeah.
It was very classic Hogan.
Oh, I bet.
It's over the top,
Yeah.
full of bravado. And it really kind of blurred the lines between his wrestling persona and then his political message.
Oh, interesting.
It was almost like he was cutting a promo,
Yeah, I can see that.
but for a political candidate.
Right.
So it was interesting to see, and I think that's where things start to get a little complicated.
Yeah, because while that might have resonated with some of his fans, I think it also probably alienated a pretty significant portion of his fan base.
Right.
And the general public.
Yeah, not everyone shares those political views. And even if they did, maybe they didn't want to see it mixed with their entertainment.
Right. It's like, are you there to see a wrestler or are you there to see a political figure?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the line there?
Yeah. And the media reaction was interesting too.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had some outlets praising Hogan's charisma
Sure.
and his, stage presence. But then you also had a lot of criticism
Right.
about the whole spectacle.
Yeah, is this appropriate?
Yeah, should this be happening? And it really felt like that speech kind of crystallized the existing divisions in public opinion about him.
Yeah, so it sounds like even before this Englewood incident, there were already these cracks in his public image.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's not just the political stuff either, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we have to talk about the controversies from his past,
Yeah, we can't ignore that.
specifically those comments that resurfaced where he admitted to being,
Oh, yeah, racist to a point.
yeah, those comments really ignited a huge debate
I remember when that happened.
about accountability, forgiveness.
Yeah,
Can someone with that kind of history
right.
be redeemed in the public eye?
And should they be?
Yeah. And it's a tough question.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no easy answer there.
No, there isn't.
So we've got this wrestling legend, right?
Yeah.
With strong political ties and past controversies.
Okay.
Now let's bring it back to Englewood.
All right.
Do you think the location itself played a role in this negative reaction?
It's a good question because Englewood is in Los Angeles County, California,
Right.
a place known for its progressive leanings.
Yeah.
So it's not like Hogan's political affiliations were a secret or anything.
Right.
But it's worth asking if he or the WWE underestimated the potential for backlash in a place that has often been at odds with the very politics Hogan was espousing.
Right.
It's almost like bringing a very politically charged figure
Yeah.
into an environment where those views are largely rejected.
So maybe a case of wrong place, wrong time?
It could be a factor.
Yeah. And we got to remember, this isn't just like a few disgruntled fans here.
Right.
We're talking about a sustained course of boos.
Yeah, it was loud, it was forceful, it was enough to make him leave.
Yeah. It made him abandon his planned appearance.
And then, of course, social media just exploded.
Oh, I can only imagine.
It was a mix of shock,
Yeah.
anger,
Hmm.
a sense of vindication.
Oh, I got it.
Some people were like, this is long overdue. Others felt like, this is disrespectful to a legend.
Right.
And then you had people who saw this as a powerful display of audience activism.
Interesting.
I saw a comment that said, Englewood brought the heat and sent Hogan packing.
Oh, wow.
And I think that really captured the sentiment.
So there's almost like this instant karma kind of a vibe going on.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there for sure.
But what about the WWE in all this?
Right.
I mean, they're the ones that put him front and center.
They made that choice.
Knowing his history, knowing the political climate,
Mm-hmm.
do you think they miscalculated?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did they underestimate the potential for a negative reaction?
Or was this deliberate?
Yeah, like was there some element of, courting controversy to generate buzz?
Right, because controversy gets people talking.
It does.
Maybe that was the plan all along.
Maybe.
So we've got Hulk Hogan, his political ties,
Yeah.
his past controversies,
Mm-hmm.
and the WWE's decision to feature him.
Right. In a potentially hostile environment.
We're in this potentially hostile environment. Yeah, it's kind of a recipe for exactly what happened.
Yeah, it's all kind of coming together here.
Right. But I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It feels like it.
To really understand what went down in Englewood,
Yeah,
I think we need to go deeper.
I think so too.
We need to look at the bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
The shifting dynamics of wrestling audiences,
Well, yeah.
the WWE's business decisions,
Mhm.
and the complex interplay of entertainment and politics
Yeah.
in the age of social media.
There's a lot to unpack.
It is, but we're going to try to unpack it all right here on this deep dive. So stay with us.
It's easy to just look at this and say, oh, it's just another celebrity controversy.
Yeah.
But I think it actually goes a lot deeper than that. I think it speaks to how we're consuming entertainment these days.
Okay.
Wrestling fans and I think audiences in general are just a lot more aware now
More aware of.
the power they have.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They're not just passive spectators anymore. They want their voices to be heard.
Right.
And they're using social media and things like that to make sure those voices are heard loud and clear.
So you're saying this isn't just about Hulk Hogan.
I don't think so.
This is about a bigger cultural shift where fans are like,
Yeah.
we want more accountability.
Accountability. Yeah, and I think in the past, it was easier to separate an entertainer's personal views from their work.
Right, like you could enjoy their movies even if you didn't agree with their politics or whatever.
Exactly, but now it's like everything's so interconnected.
Yeah, social media.
Every tweet, every Instagram post can become a news story.
Right, you can't really escape it,
Can't escape it, so that separation is getting really difficult.
especially when those views align with like
Oh, yeah.
controversial figures or ideologies.
Wow. It gets really murky then.
It's almost like the line between their personal life and their public life is just completely blurred.
Completely. And that's a whole new set of challenges for entertainment companies.
Yeah.
Like the WWE,
Right, they're in a tough spot.
they're trying to appeal to this massive audience with all these different values and beliefs and walk this tightrope of,
Yeah.
not alienating anyone.
Right, and it's interesting you brought up the WWE
Yeah.
because they're the ones who put Hulk Hogan front and center.
They did, knowing his history, knowing the potential for backlash.
So do you think there's a business calculation at play here?
Possibly.
Is controversy good for ratings?
I mean, wrestling has always thrived on conflict, larger than life personalities.
Yeah, good versus evil, all that stuff.
Exactly, and they use controversy to generate buzz, to get people talking.
And it worked, right?
People are talking about it.
I mean, we're talking about it.
We are.
So maybe the WWE knew exactly what they were doing.
It's possible.
They brought in a polarizing figure,
Yeah.
knowing it would spark debate, get attention.
And to be fair to them,
Yeah.
they're not the only ones dealing with this.
Right, this isn't just a wrestling problem.
It's an entertainment problem.
Yeah, anyone who features public figures with strong opinions is facing this challenge.
How do you balance nostalgia and star power
Right.
with, current cultural and political sensitivities.
It's a tough question.
Really tough, and there's no easy answer.
No, there isn't. This whole situation got me thinking about something you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The evolution of wrestling audiences. Have wrestling fans always been so politically engaged? Or is this a newer thing?
It's a good question. I think wrestling has always had passionate fans,
Right.
but the way they interact with it now,
Yeah.
with the product and with the wrestlers, is totally different.
Different how?
Social media is huge.
Ah, okay.
They have a direct line to the wrestlers now.
I see. Yeah.
They're not afraid to use it.
Yeah, they could tweet at them.
Exactly. And there's a level of immediacy and accountability that just wasn't there before.
Right back in the day, you couldn't just send Hulk Hogan a message and expect him to see it.
You'd have to write a letter.
Yeah, but now
Now you can tweet them.
it's instant.
It's right there.
Yeah.
So the wrestlers can't control their narratives as easily anymore.
Oh, interesting.
They're constantly under scrutiny.
Yeah.
What they do off screen can affect their careers.
Okay, so we've got this evolution of the audience.
Yeah.
We've got the WWE's possible motives here. We've got the whole, politics and entertainment mixing together.
It's complicated.
In this age of social media, it's very complicated, but let's bring it back to Hulk Hogan for a second. What do you think this incident means for him? Is this a turning point in his career?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah.
His name is synonymous with wrestling.
Yeah.
But his image has definitely taken a hit.
And this isn't the first time he's been in hot water.
No, it's not.
But this felt different.
It did.
It felt like a very public,
Very public.
visceral rejection.
Yeah, and it's happening at a time when audiences are less forgiving. They want people to be held accountable.
So can Hulk Hogan recover from this?
I don't know.
Or is this the beginning of the end for him?
It's hard to say he's shown resilience in the past,
He has.
but things are different now.
The court of public opinion is a harsh place.
It is, and the Englewood incident definitely left its mark.
And for the WWE, this raises some big questions about their strategy going forward.
Absolutely.
Can they keep relying on nostalgia
Yeah.
and these controversial figures? Or do they need to adapt?
It's a tough one because they want to keep the older fans happy.
Of course.
But they need to attract new fans.
Right, a younger generation who might not be into the same stuff.
Exactly. It's a balancing act for sure.
This is a lot to think about.
It really is.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface.
I think we are.
This one incident with one wrestler,
Yeah.
it speaks to these larger issues facing the whole entertainment industry.
It's a microcosm of it all.
It is, and it makes you think about these big questions.
Yeah.
Like, how do we balance free speech with accountability?
Right.
How do we navigate these blurred lines between personal beliefs and public image? How do we make sure the entertainment we consume reflects the values we hold dear?
These are the big questions we need to be asking ourselves.
Okay, so we're back, and we've talked a whole lot.
We have.
Hulk Hogan, his political ties, past controversies, the WWE's choice to feature him, the reaction in Englewood.
Right. It's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride. But as we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm curious, where do we go from here?
That is the question, isn't it? And I don't think it's one that's just limited to Hulk Hogan
Okay.
or even to wrestling. This whole thing has really shown how things are changing
Changing how?
in terms of entertainment and celebrity.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for a long time, there was this kind of unspoken agreement
Okay.
between audiences and entertainers that you kind of check your brain at the door when you watch a show.
Okay. Like, you wouldn't take it too seriously.
Yeah, you'd accept that people are playing roles.
Yeah, like the wrestlers are characters.
Exactly, and you wouldn't necessarily expect their real lives to perfectly match up with your own values.
Right. Like, you could enjoy a movie even if you didn't agree with the star's politics.
Exactly, but it feels like that's changing.
It does feel like that's changing.
Yeah, we're more aware now
We're aware of
how entertainment works, of the power dynamics behind it. We're starting to understand that it's not just harmless fun.
right. It can shape our views.
Yeah, absolutely. It reinforces stereotypes.
Yeah.
It can even influence our beliefs, and I think because of that,
Okay.
we're starting to demand more from the people who entertain us.
So it's like we're holding them to a higher standard now.
Yeah, I think so, both on and off screen.
And is that a bad thing?
I don't think so. I think it means we're becoming more critical consumers.
Yeah, more thoughtful.
Exactly, we're thinking about the messages we're taking in.
So what does all of this mean for the future of wrestling then?
That's a tough one.
Can the WWE keep doing things the way they always have?
relying on nostalgia and these sometimes controversial figures?
Yeah.
Or do they need to change with the times?
Adapt or die, right?
Kind of, they're at a crossroads for sure.
They are, because they've got this long history, a loyal fan base,
Absolutely.
business model that's worked for them for decades.
Yeah, but the world is changing around them, and they can't ignore that forever.
So what kind of changes would they need to make?
Well, they need to be more aware of their audience.
Yeah.
What worked in the past might not work now.
Right, they can't just assume everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. They need to be more in tune with what their viewers care about.
And what about the wrestlers themselves?
Yeah.
How do they navigate this new world?
It's tricky. They need to be authentic, but they also need to realize their words have power.
Right, every tweet, every Instagram post.
It can make a difference. They're not just entertainers anymore.
Okay.
They're role models, influencers, sometimes even political figures.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
It is, and everyone needs to adjust.
The WWE, the wrestlers, the fans.
We all have a part to play.
And it's not just wrestling either, right?
No, this is happening everywhere.
Movies, TV shows, music.
Video games, the lines are getting blurred,
It's all connected.
and the power dynamics are changing too.
So what's the takeaway for our listener?
Be an active participant in the entertainment you consume.
Don't just sit there and watch.
Think about it critically. Think about the messages.
Yeah. Do those messages align with your values?
Exactly. And ask yourself, am I comfortable supporting this?
And realize that your choices matter.
They do the shows you watch, the music you listen to.
The wrestlers you cheer for.
It all makes a difference.
Wow. This has been an incredible deep dive.
He started with a wrestling match
Yeah.
and ended up talking about the future of entertainment.
And our role in shaping that future.
All connected.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for listening. Keep those brains engaged, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.